would say is just get started. It's always going to be either, as the saying says, day one or one day. You choose.
Talks exactly about what you just mentioned, right? Being stuck there and just making plans in your head. What this does is gives you a dopamine hit. But then if you go out there and if you let people know that, hey, this is what I'm going to be doing in 6 months, your brain is already like living that moment. When it's time for execution, you're like, you don't have the drive. You know what I mean?
You're kind of waiting for the perfect version of you to just show up and save the day. And that will never happen. And these people, they often end up like where they live, where they work will be very disorganized, because for them it's like, this is just temporary. I'm not here for a long time. I'm going to be moving into a mansion soon.
I still remember, and he was just like reconditioning my brain. Every video I watched about him was just telling me that business is the way to go. And he was saying basically, business is the only way for you to actually understand Allah's tawakkul actually works, to live tawakkul in its true essence.
So everyone told me I could be whatever I wanted when I was younger, but what have you actually done to take steps towards that direction? In fact, all you end up doing is procrastinating. A lot of times, these are the type of people that end up things like porn addiction or drugs or music, because these are things that kind of numb the reality that you're living in. Because you're living in this fantasy world, you want to go back to that fantasy world as much as possible.
But then, subhanAllah, I was doing istikhara like consistently every single day before I had to make that decision. If there's a brother or a sister sitting and watching this and they're in a job and they feel stuck, what's one thing that you would say to them? Abu Bakr, you've built a business, basically a co-founder of two businesses, if I'm not mistaken. One is a supercar rental company. The other, which is The Cave, a network of high net worth individuals. So tell me, for anybody watching this podcast, what's the one thing you want them to take away?
One thing for them to take away, I would say, is just get started. It's always going to be either, as the saying says, day one or one day. You choose. You can sit there and dream about one day I'm going to do this. One day this is going to work out for me. One day I'm going to do this. Or you can decide, today's day one. Actually, I'm just going to get started. I was actually listening to a video this morning and I was driving to the other podcast studio. And it was basically just talking about there's a whole bunch of people out there. I can't remember what the term for it was, but it translated to the eternal boy. So there's a lot of people in their childhood, they were praised, hugely because they were intelligent, they managed to get a lot of things done, etc. But then when it came to real life, they kind of had this expectation of everything will go smoothly, and it doesn't. So then they end up in this space where for them, they're always fantasizing about what they can do, what they could do if they put their mind to it, what they're, and it's almost as if you're kind of waiting for the perfect version of you to just show up and save the day. But that will never happen. And these people, they often end up like living, very, for example, like where they live, where they work will be very disorganized, because for them it's like, this is just temporary. I'm not here for a long time. I'm going to be moving into a mansion soon. The partner that they're with, this is just temporary. Again, I'm going to be the job that they're working. This is just temporary. I've got a multi-million-dollar business coming around the corner, but they will never actually take steps in the direction that actually to get that thing done. So that's a really interesting concept, and I feel like a lot of people fall into that, where it's just every day is just fantasizing. You're watching other people on Instagram, look at the life that he's got, look at the car he drives, look at what he's doing, and you're thinking, yeah, I'm going to do that. I've got the ability to do that. Everyone told me I could be whatever I wanted when I was younger. But what have you actually done to take steps towards that direction? In fact, all you end up doing is procrastinating and you're just putting it off. And a lot of times, these are the type of people that end up, things like porn addiction or drugs or music, because these are things that kind of numb the reality that you're living in. Because you're living in this fantasy world, you want to go back to that fantasy world as much as possible, which is why you run away from work, you run away from the things that are actually hard, that will actually get you to where you want to be. You're just trying to focus and stay in this fantasy world. So one thing to take away from the podcast, just get started.
Subhanallah, Habibi, profound. So this definitely reminds me of a couple of things. First is the book, Ego is the Enemy. Not sure if you've read it.
No.
Anybody who's watching this, I highly recommend you read it, because it talks exactly about what you just mentioned, right? Being stuck there and just making plans in your head, right? What this does is gives you a dopamine hit, which your brain basically needs, but then it's like you're getting it in a cheaper form. right? So just by making mental plans, you're getting that dopamine hit that you're actually supposed to get by executing things. So by sitting there and like thinking of or making plans in the head and like, even like writing down whatever, aspirations you might have, subhanallah, like writing down is still fine. But then if you go out there and if you let people know that, hey, this is what I'm going to be doing in 6 months, your brain is already like living that moment. So you've already in your head, you've already, subhanallah, like got that dopamine hit. So when it comes to like execution, when it's time for execution, you're like, you don't have the drive. You know what I mean? So subhanallah, thank you so much for mentioning that, Habibi. I guess I want to talk about your journey before you became a business owner, right? So before you started whatever your first business, I reckon was like the supercar rental, I think.
No,
I'm not
we've had
mistaken.
many businesses in the UK before.
Okay, tayyib, inshallah. Whatever the first business was, subhanallah, take me back to when you were basically like you were, let's say, working a day job or a 9 to 5. Who were you? Like, where did you come from, and what led you to taking that first step?
Yeah, so growing up, I always had this impression that in order to be successful, I had to get a good education, which would then lead to a good job with a good salary, and that would lead to a good life. So that was my plan, trying to figure out how to get a good job. I was quite smart, I was good at especially maths, science, etc. Alhamdulillah, I got really good grades. And I was very much an overachiever, especially early ages. So for me, like I found GCSEs, for example, extremely easy, right? But then going into college, now being naturally gifted wasn't enough. You had to actually put in some work, which was a shock for me because I was used to doing no work and getting all the answers right. So then, plus also at that age, I started to get into the wrong crowd, wrong company, started to fall off the beaten path a little bit in terms of like activity I was involved in and things like that. But then, I applied for pharmacy at college, managed to get into university. There's a whole story with how I even end up at university, to do the student loan and stuff, alhamdulillah.
Subhanallah.
But I've mentioned that enough times online, so I won't bore the audience with that again. Got into pharmacy, started my first year, and within a few months, I remember going to a placement at a pharmacy, and I realized that I can't do this for the rest of my life. I thought, there's no way I'm doing this 9 to 5 for the rest of my life. It was so like mind-numbingly boring. Like I was literally a shopkeeper for drugs. So I was like stacking shelves in the morning, serving customers whatever they needed. The only difference is instead of giving them cereal and wet wipes like the rest of the guys at the front, because it was a Tesco pharmacy, instead of being a cashier at the front desk giving them groceries, I'm just a cashier at the back giving them drugs. And I realized that I can't do this. And at the same time, I had just met Imran like a few months before that, in the summer before I started my university, and started studying the Deen, with Ustad Abdurrahman Hassan, Imran, Saad, Guled, some of the other brothers, and it was clear to me that this is something that I'm passionate about. That I'd love to be involved in something. This is something I would do for free, to be involved in something like this. And I saw that the brothers are doing great work when it came to da'wah and putting out videos, etc. I said, this is something I want to be involved in. At the time, it wasn't really like a career decision. Like, it was not like this is something that I'm gonna. For me, it was just right now. All I know is this is something I'm passionate about. This is something that I love doing, and I'm willing to do it for free. So I dropped out of uni and started volunteering with the Rosa Fact. I think a year and a half, 2 years. I was just volunteering, helping out in whatever way I could, without pay. At the time, obviously, I'm living with my dad, don't have bills to cover, etc. And I just started learning. So at the time, Imran had like an online education platform teaching Islamic studies. Back then, it was called Muslim Survival Guide. It then turned into the Knowledge College, and then actually went back to being Muslim Survival Guide. But I was there just learning. It was selling a course. Right? It was info. It was info, just religious info product. So I'm learning the whole system, how it works. We were using Kajabi at the time, hosting courses, building websites, payment processes, emails, marketing. Like I'm just learning everything, taking it all in. And yeah, literally worked as a volunteer for 2 years, doing whatever was required. I learned camera work, learned editing, video editing, just learned whatever was needed. I could do whatever was needed. And then in 2018, if I'm not mistaken, we had an idea to set up an Umrah company. And now, by that time, that was the third year, because we started in 2015. I was earning a small salary from the Knowledge College. I think it was a few £100 a month, £400, £500, something like that. And I had shown my worth. I had shown what I was capable of. So when the idea came to set up a Umrah company, and I knew that I was going to have to be doing a lot of the heavy lifting with it, the discussion came up about equity. And alhamdulillah, I had equity, so I was a co-founder. Whereas here I was literally just a volunteer, then an employee. When I was setting up another company, and it was like, okay, cool, this is the value that you're bringing to the table. These are the connections. These are the skills that you have. You've proven yourself to be, a capable operator. So here you go. Here's 25% of the company, and we had 3 other partners, each of us with 25%. And yeah, alhamdulillah, from there we just took off, and that was the first time. Obviously now, like, even though beforehand with Knowledge College, even though I had no equity in it, I treated it like it was my own. I mean, who would work for a business for 2 years without getting paid unless they had equity, right? That's what a startup is, right? But for me, even though I didn't have equity on paper, I felt like this is my project. This is, and that's, I think, a very unique thing that a lot of leaders don't do, is make your people feel like they are actually part of it. They will go above and beyond for you, right? Even if you don't give them equity.
Yes.
So yeah, that was the first business, was the Umrah company. We ran that from 2018 up until 2022, 2023, like 4 or 5 years. And while it was running, I would say it was, without a shadow of a doubt, the best tour operating Umrah company that I was aware of at that time. From like the experience that the people had on those trips, the way people changed their lives, the communities that were impacted and affected because of that, because of those trips. Alhamdulillah, that was something amazing. And we had other stuff alongside that. We had a marketing agency we ran for some period of time, and a few of the bits and bobs, and then moved on to the Badr Club, which then became the Brothers Club, which is like it was a network. So now we've got the Cave, but that was the entry requirements for that were a lot lower. Then we transitioned to info product for a while, teaching people how to set up an Umrah company. So we've had multiple different businesses over the years. But the initial one, the first one I was actually my first business, officially would be the 5-star Umrah.
5-star Umrah, Allah Mabarak.
That was the name, yeah.
The company is still active, up and running?
No, because of the fact that we moved to the UAE now. We did one trip while we were living here, going back to the UK, taking people, it just it was just too much. Yeah, and then it's like it's not just the time that you're in Saudi that is taken away. The time before, which is preparing for it. The time after, getting back into your routine, like you end up losing a whole month of work time, and where we were at that time, what we were building, I just couldn't afford to do that at that moment in time. And plus, also because of the Umrah setup, we felt comfortable knowing that there are many other Umrah companies that are very proficient, that are getting the job done. So I feel like we kind of could step away, because for us, 5-star Umrah, yes, it was a business, but primarily, first and foremost, it was a da'wah project. We wanted to take people that were, from the streets, from
Subhanallah,
that kind of a background, to Umrah, help them change their lives.
Allahu Akbar.
And at the time, there wasn't really anyone doing it the way we wanted to do it. So now, but when we left, we felt like there were enough people doing it where we could step away and be comfortable and find our risk elsewhere.
Subhanallah. Allah Mabarak, Habibi. Yeah, now that you mentioned the Knowledge College and even like the Umrah company, bro, I think you started the info product for the Umrah company to teach brothers how to do, and I was actually going to invest in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like me and my, like a very close friend of mine, we actually talked about like splitting the cost and like starting the Umrah company. But subhanAllah, we did the istikhara and everything, never really got to it. Alhamdulillah, got stuck up in our 9-to-5s, and we're complacent, like a lot of the people are today, subhanAllah. So would you say, Habibi, that that time when you were doing that pharmacy job is that specific time and day when you felt like you can't do this anymore and you need to make the leap?
Straight to business?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't. No, that was just the time. That day I just realized this I can't do.
Okay.
I don't know what I'm going to do.
Okay.
But I know that this job I can't do. Like, I'm the type of person, I get bored easily.
Okay.
So for me, doing the same thing, like having that monotonous routine,
Allahu
wouldn't
Akbar.
work for me. Like, I did, there was a job that I got in 2017. So I was doing this while I was working alongside the brothers, which was, I was doing train driving for TFL, but only 2 nights a week. So it's called Night Tube, where they ran 24 hours, Friday night, Saturday night. So the reason why I enjoyed that job is, number one, it was an office job. I was, driving a train by myself the whole time. And number two is that every single shift was different. So I could start anywhere from 8:30 a.m. up until I think like midnight. And every single route that you did, even though it's on the same line, but it would be different. I'd be picking up my train from this depot on this day, taking it out, going around Uxbridge. Then on another day I'm going to Heathrow. And another day I'm going there. It's a long line. Some of it's underground, some of it's overground. It was just very different. Like I, at no point did I feel like I got bored of it. So that I did for like 4 years, and that actually helped me fund my lifestyle. During that time I got married, I moved out, got my own place. And while I wasn't earning a lot of money from the Knowledge College and the other projects we were doing, this allowed me to basically fund my life while still being able to give 4 days a week to the da'wah, to the Knowledge College, to everything else that we were doing at that time.
Alhamdulillah. طيب. So I want to take you back to like
sorry, one more thing if I can add. I wouldn't say that I ever had like an entrepreneurial streak within me.
Yeah.
I don't think, Allah knows best, but I don't think if I hadn't met Imran and joined that group as a volunteer and then, just become a part of the team, I don't know if I ever would have personally entered into entrepreneurship. Maybe I would have, I don't know. But I can only go off of, like, obviously now it feels like I could never do anything else. But back then, I used to hear up people, family members that had businesses, and I don't know, I never really thought that's something that I would be able to do. I don't know, it's weird. I just thought there's a certain type of person that's able to have a business. I'm just not that type of person. No idea why. I think it was, like I said, again, just when you're younger, just being drilled into your head that you need to get a good job, get a good degree. So being a business owner, I don't know, it was just alien to me.
Wallahi.
And the way I fell into it, like with the Umrah company and everything, it was so unorganic. Like it wasn't something that I actively went out my way to do. So yeah, I don't know. And I feel like there's a lot of people like that. Like some people naturally, they're entrepreneurial. They have this idea, I want to do this, I want to do this. I wasn't really like that, if I'm honest with you. I was more of a get the job done, do a good job type of person. Which is why even now, like I don't think I would. I mean, I believe if anything is possible, but generally speaking, I don't think I would make a good CEO.
Okay.
That's why every role that I've ever taken has always been like COO, operations and this and that. So it's always been like second in command, number two, which some people might look at, because like even sometimes we do podcasts or we're talking about business related things, and sometimes I don't even relate to what's being discussed. I'm like, my mind doesn't work like that.
SubhanAllah.
But you need good COOs to make
100%,
businesses work.
100%. I'm actually, for anybody watching, I'm actually looking for my COO right now.
Okay.
Because I'm the kind of person who executes, right? I'm like, alhamdulillah, by Allah's tawfiq, amazing at execution. Like I can build a business, like alhamdulillah, by Allah's tawfiq, in the shortest time possible. Yeah, but to keep it running is where I face challenges. So I'm like looking for my COO, subhanallah. But then it definitely makes sense, Habibi. I can relate to whatever you just said. You said that you never really felt like you were cut out for business. I felt this way too at some point in life. Actually, for the majority of my life, not because, like, I think that's how I was conditioned. Like, I remember like my family members telling me, our family is not made for business. Yeah. And that stuck with me. Right. So like, I was like, subhanallah, okay, like maybe I'm not made for business. Maybe it's just, you need to have a certain type of, I don't know, like a gene in you to become like a founder, like a business owner, which seems to be true from my earlier conversation with Sam. He mentioned you need to have the founder's DNA, but for me, I feel like I suppressed it intentionally.
Okay.
Yeah, because of the limiting beliefs, because whatever like my family told me. But subhanallah, that aside, when I was starting the business, right, like I was in a corporate 6-figure a year job, dream for like 99% of the people. Right, that's literally like the Desi dream, right? People from the subcontinent, they move to the West, they get like a job, high-paying job. They start with like whatever 5 figures, and then they build it up to like 6 figures. For me, alhamdulillah, I jumped straight to 6 figures. Alhamdulillah, in a very short period of time by Allah's tawfiq. Alhamdulillah. And subhanallah, now I was making that transition from like a 6-figure corporate job, like senior, like lead level, to like a business owner. So I was like, subhanallah, I was like having jitters, bro. Like I was, subhanallah, I was like thinking at the back of my head, like, I'm thinking about what my family is going to say, all the backlash I'm going to get from like the family members and everything. But then, subhanallah, I was doing istikhara like consistently every single day before I had to make that decision. And I remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sending me videos every single day from Hisham Abu Yusuf. I still remember. And he was just like reconditioning my brain. Every video I watched about him was just telling me that business is the way to go. And he was saying basically, business is the only way for you to actually understand Allah's, like his qadr, like how tawakkul actually works, to live tawakkul in its true essence.
So
Yeah, because like as a business owner, like you could literally be like whatever, making like 5 figures, 6 figures a month, and suddenly one day you have like no cash in the bank left and you need to pay your employees, right? Subhanallah. And you're just like, subhanallah, you're like, you put all your reliance upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because you're putting in the work, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who provides, subhanallah. So alhamdulillah, I think that was my moment, subhanallah. So I guess, Habibi, I wanted to like understand, have you ever had like when you like did you have like a real time transition from like from a 9 to 5 to like being a business owner, or was it like organic? Like did you have like, was it like drastic or was it organic?
so like I said, I never really did 9 to 5. It was
Just one or two times.
No, so I was doing the first year of uni. I did a placement in there. I was still in my studies. I left it. Then I went into, like I said, the volunteering with Imran, with the Knowledge College Mustafa at that time. And then after that, for a long time, that's all I was doing for a couple of years. Then I got a job at TFL, which again wasn't 9 to 5. It was only 2 nights a week. So I was doing like 15, 16 hours a week there. And then soon after that started 5-star Umrah. So I wouldn't say I went from a 9 to 5 to being a business owner. It was unorthodox.
Organic.
Yeah, organically, I guess. Yeah. It was organic, and it wasn't a shift like that to that level. The only job that I would say that I've kind of worked that was the closest thing to a 9 to 5 was while I was in college. I was working in a call center. But even that, it was like, it wasn't a 9 to 5. I was doing it while I was at college in the evenings, on the weekends, in the holidays. I would work more often. So I never actually worked a proper 9 to 5 ever.
Subhanallah.
Yeah.
Lucky guy, bro. Allahumma barik. Allahumma barik, man. May Allah increase you, Habibi.
I don't know. I'm the type of person, like I said, I get bored for things very easily. Like, there's one thing I used to always, not, I won't say dream about, but I used to always think about, which would be sick. Like, would be like, imagine having 30 days and just working 30 different jobs, just for one day each, just to get a feel for it. Like, and it could be something so small. It could be something, working at a petrol station, for example. Just understanding, because like, for example, when I work on the trains, now I know on the platform there's certain buttons that you can press that certain things will happen. I know where all these, it's just, for me, it's just very interesting learning about these things. Now, when I step on a platform, what I see is very different to what I used to see before when I wasn't, a staff member. So even that process, that question, like when you're at a petrol station, for example, what are the different processes? How does it all work? Where's that fuel actually stored? Is it underneath? Is it to the side? Is it here? Like, working as a pilot or even as a flight steward, understand, like, where do they sleep on long flights? Like, how does it all, I know they've got places within the plane, like getting that access. For me, that would be super interesting. If it was for 30 days or even for a year, bro. Imagine working 365 different jobs.
Subhanallah.
One day each, just to get a feel for it, just to get an idea of it. But yeah, in terms of regular 9 to 5, I never worked it. There are definitely cons, 100%. Like, if a person is able to, I would say having your own business, the pros outweigh the cons. With that said, there's pros that 9 to 5 has that business doesn't have.
100%.
There's a level of stability. Of course, you could technically lose your job, but while you're in that job, month in, month out what you're getting. You know what work is expected of you. It's more uniform. Whereas here, as you said, 1 month you could be making 100K. A couple months down the line, suddenly the money's all gone, expenses are there, and you're trying to figure out something could happen. You're shielded from that as an employee because you're the owner of your business is the one dealing with all that stuff. Whereas here, it's all on you. So yeah, hope that answers the question.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah. Yeah. طيب. So طيب. So we've seen your journey, alhamdulillah, so far in a nutshell, starting from whatever, like volunteering, to building a network of high net worth individuals, alhamdulillah. At any point did you feel that, like you wanting to do more, or like building your businesses, or like, being ambitious was wrong? because like as Muslims, we're conditioned to believe that, you know, obviously it is also part of you know, like our faith to be content and to be, you know, happy with what we have and be grateful. But then a lot of people, you know, let this stop them from having high aspirations. So at any point did you feel like having high aspirations and you chasing your like whatever, like more money, was wrong?
I would say maybe like when I first started practicing, um, before I was around like Imran and the other brothers, I had that concept of poverty is piety. Like, let me completely disassociate from the dunya. Like, you know, for example, like cars are something I used to love when I was, you know, younger. I've always loved cars, fast cars, supercars. So when I started practicing, I kind of accepted in my mind that, you know what, like I'm not going to be able to do anything with the dunya now. Like, I'm just going to focus, do my worship, you know, like almost like, you know, caveman mentality, like, you know, to live in a cave and just worship Allah and that's it. But thankfully, alhamdulillah, like I said, when I was around the brothers and I met Imran and the rest of the brothers, and these men are doing business, and, you know, they've got other brothers around that are doing businesses as well.
Alhamdulillah.
And I saw that, you know, there was a connection between the businesses and the deen. All right. Like, I mean, knowledge college, I guess it was a bad example because it has a direct connection. Like, it is teaching the deen. So by it growing, it necessitates that the deen element grows as well. But with any business, like if you have the right intention, you're doing it for the right reasons to help to be able to use that wealth to serve the deen. You could be selling anything. You could be selling peptides, for example. It's not inherently Islamic in and of itself. But if you get rich off of doing that and you're able to give more zakat, more sadaqah, you're able to feed your family, you're able to help, you know, the community, do whatever else you're able to do, then obviously that's a praiseworthy thing. So very briefly, at the beginning, I'll say it was there. Maybe possibly growing up as well, I used to have that connotation that, you know, the religious people, being religious and being rich are mutually exclusive. But alhamdulillah, very quickly that was dismantled just by being around brothers that were both righteous and rich.
Allah Mabarak. So tell me something, with money coming in, with more money coming in, how did that affect your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
How did that affect my relationship with Allah?
For example,
I wouldn't say necessarily that the money coming in did. I feel like I was still able to do whatever I was doing before, just at a larger scale with money, for example. So I don't really feel like it had I don't feel like there's a direct correlation between more money coming in and a change in relationship with Allah necessarily.
طيب, inshallah, I think definitely what you says applies as well. Like, you know, money just compounds the kind of person you are, right? So subhanallah, whatever person you might be, like, you know, like more generous, you're a generous person, more money is going to make you more generous. You're like whatever, you know, you like to spend like time in the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, more money gives you like the ability to, like, subhanallah, buy back your time so that you can spend that in the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, all right? Or if you're like an arrogant person, money is just going to make you more arrogant, right? For me, subhanallah, more money coming in kind of directly affected my relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because now, subhanallah, first things first, and obviously not just like more money coming in, but also like the means through which it was coming in, like business, right? So now, like, every day I used to wake up, and before, when I was getting paid a salary at the end of every 2 weeks, I didn't have, like, every morning I woke up, I did not have that intentional, the conscious mind that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who is responsible to give me risk today. But with business, subhanallah, every morning I wake up, I'm like, the first thought that comes to me is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to give me the risk today. Right? How much money is going to come in today? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that's going to give it to me. Right? And subhanallah, it also allowed me, more money allowed me to basically delegate a lot of things that I would have done otherwise, and then spend that time in actually, you know, worshipping Allah, or like, you know, whatever it is that I wanted to do, like memorize the Quran, or subhanallah, you know, like understand like Allah better through his names, right? Going on a journey of like, you know, gaining beneficial knowledge, doing umrah, pretty much, alhamdulillah, now I do umrah at least once every quarter. Alhamdulillah, by Allah's tawfiq. Yeah, which I was not able to do when I was in my 9 to 5. I literally had to plan like 6 months ahead, and even then wouldn't be able to do it. because of how many barriers there were. So alhamdulillah, that's one way that it's subhanallah, like more money has directly affected my relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alhamdulillah. طيب. So I wanted to ask Habibi, you have a marketing background, sah?
Yeah.
Do you still work in marketing?
As in every business is an element of marketing, right? And as a founder, you have to dive into that everywhere. As a founder, you have to dive into every single department within your business.
Pretty much.
Generally speaking, now, when it comes to the cave, Emran deals with the sales and marketing, and I'm involved in the fulfillment and the operations. But I have a hand of involvement. Yeah, like I'm aware of what's happening within the marketing, the different marketing styles that we're doing, especially the organic. So the organic, the podcast, the short form content that we do. They're more so, and then the paid ads, Emran's primarily handling that.
Allahumma barik. Okay, so the follow-up question I had was, in the marketing realm, what do you think was not working in the past that's working today? Like a shift in a trend, like you mentioned organic, right? Maybe like you could explain a little bit more about that. But then what's one thing that people are sleeping on currently?
So a shift that's taken place definitely would be, now it's a lot easier. The barrier to entry for social media is a lot lower. Like when we first started off, there was only a handful of people that were actually making content online. Now it's like everyone and their grandma's making content online, So I feel like the barrier to entry has gotten a lot lower. With that said, it also means that there is a lot more saturation. So like whereas before, for example, if you wanted to an Islamic lecture, you were kind of limited to what institutes there were. Now there's like 101. Likewise, when it came to people that were in the da'wah, again, if you look at 10 years ago, there were like a large number of people, but it was still, compared to what it is now, where it's like anyone, whether they have knowledge or not, can jump on and just start talking. So I feel like the accessibility. So it's like it's a lot easier now to build a brand, to get up to the point where you're able to monetize it, start making good money from it. Knowledge is a lot more accessible now. You're readily able to get business knowledge online in books for free. Even there's a lot more, and a lot more people, I feel like, have realized that business is a way to definitely help your economic situation, given the cost of living crisis that we're currently going through, inflation, all the other things that are happening. The middle class is being wiped out. People are losing the wealth that their families built, and the super rich are getting richer, and people that are on the bottom half of that K-shaped economy, they're only going to get poorer, and wages haven't kept up with inflation, with cost of living. So whereas things like the shop are getting 30-40% more expensive, your wages going up by like 3-4%. So people are realizing that this is actually just a trap. In fact, recently, if I'm not mistaken, in the UK, I believe the government, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, I remember reading something about this. I think they scrapped, like, I can't remember how many uni courses, because they said that the data was showing them that there was no meaningful benefit economically of getting this degree. So I'm saying the government themselves are putting their hand up saying, wait, this system that we used to push and promote and say, look, the one that I had in my head, which was get a good education, get a good job, good salary, everything else will come. You buy the house, whereas now you're getting the education. A lot of people are struggling to find a job. And the ones who are finding jobs, they're not getting paid anywhere near what they need to be able to. People are spending, I think, like 60-70% of their income just on rent in a lot of places. That's so crazy. It's like that dream has been shattered. That you were sold a lie, and you paid £9,000 a year for it. Like, that's the saddest thing. You just paid £9,000 a year for it. So I just feel like a lot more people are waking up to the reality. It's a lot easier to get your hands on. Yes, it's more saturated, but where there's a will, there's a way, man. Like we just did the Channel By just now, and I was talking to the brothers about, I don't know if you've seen, like there's these nitties, crackheads, that are coming online, making content and monetizing it and getting paid out.
SubhanAllah.
It's crazy. This guy's out here, setting himself on fire and jumping into the water, or sniffing ants, or
That's crazy.
So like he went to a urinal where people urinate, picked up the thing at the bottom of it, started putting it in his mouth, like
No way.
doing the most disgusting, nasty, crazy stuff.
Allahu
But
Akbar.
he's getting hundreds of thousands of views. He's getting paid out. And it's funny, people say do it for the gram, which means do it for Instagram. He says do it for the gram, and he means literally do it for the gram, like the gram of cocaine that he's doing it for.
That's hilarious.
So there's like, and when I see this, I'm thinking, how are these guys outworking us? Like even me, when it comes to content, I've been slacking, for a long time. Like even those podcasts that we had, and I've got many others. And I was supposed to record an entire, house tour and this and that, and I was just so busy with the cave fulfillment side of things now. I just said, you know what, I'm just gonna release them as they are because I don't have the time to record it. I think if this guy can take out the time, find the time to come up with ideas
between trips,
and it's actually good ideas, like it's actually binge-worthy content. People actually enjoy it because the views don't lie, numbers don't lie. Whatever he's doing is working. We definitely don't agree with what he's actually doing, but he's a smart businessman. He's making it work. He's thinking outside the box. He's finding a way to make it work. What's your excuse? And that's the thing. Like, if you put your mind to it, you will find a way. But if you don't put your mind to it, you'll just find excuses. And a lot of people, they find excuses. They'll sign up to a course or a program, and they won't put in the work, and then they'll blame everything else. They'll find another reason why this won't work, or this isn't possible, or this can't happen. And the reality is, it can. You're just like, if you look at, for example, FIFA. Obviously the World Cup happening right now. It's tomorrow, I think, is the final, right? They made so many changes this year, so many changes where they were thinking outside the box to be able to make extra revenue. It's mind-blowing. Like, for example, they went from 32 teams, which has always been the norm, to 48. They added 16 extra teams.
Allahu Akbar.
I think they added like an extra 60 matches or something like that to the thing. So that's more matches, more sponsorships, more tickets, more viewers, now more people. Those extra 16 countries that are come in, all of the people, not all of them, but majority of people living in that country are going to tune in to watch their team play. So you got more sponsorship opportunities. On top of that, like, for example, they have those boards around the pitches where they have advertisements. They now have a system where they basically, the boards were running at 240 frames per second. There's cameras that are broadcasting run at 60 frames per second. So what they did was, rather than the traditional model where it was just, for example, let's say Nike would pay to advertise, so they would be shown in 5 minutes, then they'll switch to the second ad sponsor. So each sponsor gets 5 minutes on that board, for example, and you can't change it based on the region. The cameras are all seeing the same thing. They now made a system where there's 4 different cameras broadcasting to different regions, and each one set at 60 frames per second. So, for example, the first camera will get, and the board is at 240 frames per second. It's a bit nerdy here, it's a bit geeky. You have to, bear with me. So the first camera picks up the first frame, the 5th frame, the 9th frame. Like, it picks up every 4th frame. So it can see something completely different to the next camera. So if you're sitting and watching, for example, if in the UAE now, if you would type in World Cup highlights and you watch any video, you're going to see adverts for Aramco, for other Middle East based sponsorships, right? And that sponsorship will be there for the entire duration of the video. Another person watching, another camera that's broadcasting to the US, recording the exact same football event, that same board, but the ad board shows something completely different. It will show McDonald's or wherever else it might be. They found a way to get 4 times more money from the same ad board than they were previously.
That's crazy.
What excuse do you have? They introduced hydration breaks, which they never used to have before.
That's true.
That's stuff that used to be in NBA and NFL.
Yeah.
Why? Because the gaps allows them, when they're broadcasting, to add more adverts.
Akbar.
Previously, football was only half time. You wait 45 minutes. You have 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or 15 minutes, whatever it is, of half time. And they carry on. Now they added hydration breaks. More money for them.
That's crazy.
Previously, the pricing of tickets was fixed. You used to buy it from the website, low price. People used to buy 20 tickets, go outside the stadium, start trying to sell them for higher pricing. Now FIFA said, no, we're going to do that. Now they introduced dynamic pricing. They themselves price the tickets according to... My point is, there's 1,000,001 ways to make money. There's 1,000,001 ways to think outside the box and figure out a way to do it. If a crackhead and a nitty is out here making money from his flipping personal brand, what the hell is wrong with you? And you're sitting there and you're complaining, oh, no, it's not possible. Oh, no, it's not. No, you're just a bum. You're just a bum. It's not your fault. I mean, it is your fault, but you've been conditioned like that. The environment, everything around you. School is made to, make a person that's just a compliant person, just following the script. The script is broken. The script doesn't work anymore. The script is finished. Like, you need to figure out a way to get out. Otherwise, it's just a race to the bottom. You're either going on a race to the top if you're on the top half of the K-shaped economy, or race to the bottom at the bottom. There's no in between. No one is staying the same. If your salary is staying the same year upon year, or it's increasing but not in line with inflation, you're actually going down. There's no two ways about it. A majority of salaries do not increase proportionally to the cost of living. So regardless, you are going to be going down. So you need to figure out a way to make money that doesn't connect your time to that money. And also you need to do it fast, because time is also of the essence. Who knows what's going to happen in the next 10, 15, 20 years.
Yes.
But the way things are going right now, I don't know, man. It seems like there's a big crash due at some point. And these are usually points where people either end up making it or breaking.
Wallahi, bro, subhanallah, great insights, first of all, about what FIFA is doing, basically different angles to make more money, subhanallah. So what excuse do we have, right? I've literally seen people eating cucumber on a tire. Literally. All he does is eat cucumber sitting against a tire. He gets millions of views. He built his following to 1.5 million. Just doing that. What excuse do you have? Right?
There's nitties out here.
Literally, bro. Eating poop. That's crazy, man. That's
literally, there's another one. He actually picks out, I think it's cat poo or fox poo, whatever it is, puts it in bread and eats it as a sandwich.
Man. A couple of things I wanted to touch back on, Habibi, is you mentioned that as inflation goes up, your salary basically, like you're going down. Like basically, like the middle class is basically just going down in class, right? So anybody who's making, let's say, like a 5-figure, 6-figure salary, subhanallah, whatever, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the line, like the amount of money that they'd be making would not be enough for them, or 60, 70% of whatever money they're making would be going to rent, for example. Now this, if you were a non-Muslim, might still work out for you, because you have like two people, like husband and wife, working and contributing towards household responsibilities. As a Muslim, you don't have this liberty. Yeah, like subhanallah, yes, in the worst case scenario, subhanallah, you would like maybe like have the the scholars might permit you to whatever for your wife to like contribute or whatever, worst case, but do you really want to be in that situation? Given that you have so many opportunities, do you just want to like sit around and just like wait until your wife starts pitching in so that you can live a comfortable life as a Muslim man?
Yeah. So my thoughts on this is, look, so first and foremost, if your wife is working in a completely permissible environment, which is very hard to find these days, very hard to find. There's not going to be free mixing, etc. I mean, even yourself as well, by the way, you should be working in an environment that's halal, not engaging in selling alcohol or anything haram, anything of those sorts. But let's just say, for example, your wife is able to work and it is completely permissible and everything. Not without a shadow of a doubt, as you mentioned, there is, as a man, your job is to provide, right? And part of that is accommodation and bills and everything else. And if your wife is providing for that, look, without a shadow of a doubt, it does take away, it does subtract from your
responsibility.
Not just that, but also like the image that your wife will have of you in her mind.
Yes, 100%.
A woman might, in this day and age, have convinced herself otherwise. Oh no, it's fine. Like I can be like a career woman and still and my husband and I still see him the same. I don't see him as anything less. But I believe it's a subconscious thing as well. Like if you're like, I believe majority of sisters that are watching this, if they were to really think about it, and even though they're doing a career, if they were to, if the husband was to say to them, babe, look, I want you to retire. Alhamdulillah, I've managed to either have a business or I've got a really good salary increase or whatever. You can just focus on the home or whatever else it might be, maybe a passion project, etc. And they're working like a regular job. They would quit there and then. They would be more than happy to leave. Most people, I believe, that do it, it's just because of necessity. As I said, we live in a day and age. Cost of living is extremely high. It's very hard to get by just on one salary. Look, it used to be the case, like I don't know, maybe 100 years ago, whatever, that one person working a mediocre. Mediocre is the wrong word to use for it. But one person working, let's just say what's the right way to frame it? A low-skilled job, for example, right? Working as a miner, for example, was able to earn enough money on a single salary to be able to fund the household, even go on holidays, have savings, etc. And now we live in a day and age where, bro, like 2 incomes are struggling just to be able to meet the basic necessities and essentials. And that's not going to change. So if you are able to find a way to get to a place where your wife doesn't have to work, I agree with you 100%. That's the way you should be. That's what you should be striving for. Me personally, alhamdulillah, like my wife has never had to work, a day in her life. She's had little passion projects, little bakery, sorry, not bakery, baking, like desserts and stuff she used to do before becoming a mother. And whatever she made, she kept, and that was just her thing to keep busy. Because I do believe, by the way, like I also don't agree with just, some brothers, they lock up their wife at home and with nothing to do and say, just sit there, watch the wall, and then when I come home, you can restart. No, she has to have something to do, whether it's studying knowledge, whether it's raising children, whether it's a passion project that she's working, she has to have something to do
100%.
to grow.
Keep herself busy.
Keep herself busy.
Because we know, like, empty mind.
Yeah, it's a devil's playground, as they say. So that is very important. But yeah, look, the point is, and look, if there is someone and you're in a situation where your wife is working and is contributing towards the household, look, as long as you're not happy with it, if you're not happy with it in your heart, some people, they get comfortable with it and then that becomes the reality, and they kind of get like, I don't have to work hard, I don't have to do something. Yeah, like me personally, bro, I would do, like, for me, that doesn't even come to my mind as an option.
SubhanAllah.
So like, even like, for example, when I wanted to move out of my dad's place, I've always grown up, lived in London, my whole family was in London, everyone was in London. But when I wanted to move out, I couldn't afford to live in London. But the thought of, let me get my wife to work so that we can now afford to live in London, never came to my mind. I said, no, let's move to Slough, just outside of London, cheaper rent. We can still get the type of place that we want to live in, nice, new build apartment, etc. I'll just have to commute more. My commute's going to have to be longer. Well, actually, it's funny because where we used to work from was actually closer to Slough than it was to East London where we were living. It was in West London, which is right next to Slough. But now to see the family, I had to take like an hour and a half drive to see the family. But for me, that's fine. Like, I'm willing to sacrifice that. But this day and age, I feel like a lot of people, they just want everything served to them on a golden plate. The level of entitlement is too high. I want a good job, high paying job. I want to be close to my family. I want to do that. There's no element of sacrifice. There's no thought of, I'm going to have to sacrifice this to get this. Like, no, it has to be this, it has to be this, it has to be this, it has to be this. That's not how life works, obviously. So you need to choose what's non-negotiable for you. If a non-negotiable for you is I have to be within 20 minutes of my family, you might struggle to get by and not have your wife work. For me, my wife not working wasn't non-negotiable for me. I'm the provider. I'm going to make it work. And that's been consistent over the years. Like, even when I wanted to get married, bro, I had £2,500, I think, saved up.
Allahu Akbar.
I made it work.
Allahumma barik.
I managed to do it because I said to myself, number one, I'm not taking a loan. I don't know why people do that. Number two, I'm not going to get my in-laws to contribute towards it because even though they wanted to, but for me, like, as a man, this is my, doing the walima and the food and everything, that's for me to do as a man. And I'm going to do it within my means. I'm not going to step out my means to do it, but I'm going to find a way to make it work. I managed to do it in a masjid, found a masjid, beautiful, got a whole setup, paid for, rented tables, chairs, everything, whatnot. The food, managed to get everything done, even the mahar, within that budget. The point is, wherever there's a will, that you can find a way to make it work. FIFA found a way to get 4 times the revenue from the same board. There is always a way to make it work. You just have to, number one, be willing and able to find it. And number two, you got to just be driven and just get it done. If you end up being comfortable in the situation that you're in, that's the enemy of progress, man. Comfort. You're just going to be where you are, and you're like a frog in boiling water. I'm sure you've heard of the analogy. If you put a frog into boiling hot water, it will jump straight out. If you put it in cold water and turn the heat up and it will start boiling, it will sit there and boil to death because it doesn't realize the incremental slow change. But if it's suddenly thrown into it, you realize, you're like, whoa, that's crazy.
Allahu Akbar.
Like, for a lot of people, if you were to look at your life today, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, it would have been unimaginable that my life would look like this. That I'm living in this place, married to this type of person, earning this type of salary, my body, the shape of my body, the body, you would have thought that's crazy. There's no way I'm going to be like that. Inshallah, I hope I never get there. But here you are. Because you, day by day, it was a slow shift. You didn't have a huge belly overnight. But it came slowly. Bad choices, one thing at a time, one little donut, one whatever else it might be.
That's true.
You didn't, not progress in your career suddenly overnight. No, it's just you just weren't driven. You didn't do extra work. You didn't send out your CV to other places. Like you weren't putting in the work. So don't be surprised when you don't see the results.
SubhanAllah. Allahumma barik.
Sorry,
So
I don't know if I went on a bit.
No. It's 100%, bro. Like, I mean, like, this thing needs to be discussed. And the more context we provide, maybe more people can relate. And that's exactly what we want, right? SubhanAllah. A couple of questions I wanted to ask before we end this, Habibi, before we sign off, is I, again, wanted to touch back and I wanted to expand on the point that you mentioned where, like, a lot more and more people are realizing that they need to basically get out of the comfort zone and basically like start something, let's say whatever it is, like digital, physical, something like a passive way of making money that will then help you transition if things go south in whatever like a job you're in right now. Yeah. And the later you start, the more difficult it's going to be. Right? Because more and more people are realizing this. Like Charlie Morgan says, he says that basically more and more people are realizing that digital businesses are the way to go. And more people are starting to do digital businesses. The later you start, the more difficult, the harder it's going to be. It's simple math. Right? So you might be sitting there thinking, okay, I'm going to start in 6 months. I'm going to start in like 1 year. What's stopping me? What's the urgency? There is an urgency. Yeah, it's not apparent to you, but then there is an urgency. Right? Definitely going to be harder for you to make it work if you started later rather than sooner. Right? So that's just one thing I wanted to touch on. But yeah, I guess another question I had for you was this wealth that you've accumulated, alhamdulillah, by Allah's tawfiq, the wealth that you're building, that you will build in the future, Habibi. What is the point of this? What is the point of all of this? What do you intend to do with it?
So, if I'm completely transparent, honest with you, I don't have a lot of wealth accumulated. That's not something that I'm not saying it's wrong to accumulate wealth. I believe this is a discussion that's been ongoing for a long time, both internally in my head and also I've had discussion with brothers as well. I've always been the type of person to live paycheck to paycheck. The size of the paycheck obviously will change with time, but for me, like there's always a use for wealth. I find like whether it be something that's charitable. You hear about someone that needs something, or whatever. I'm not saying that's necessarily the case all the time, but either that or just the needs. It could be something to do with family. You just spend your money on the family that you have.
That's charity in itself. Best form of charity.
Yes, more of an indirect form of charity, or even just like I don't know. And I do believe this is a discussion that me and Imran have a lot, and he disagrees with me on this quite a bit. And I'm not saying my position is the correct one, because definitely it is important to build wealth, but it's just something that I don't know. It's just never really appealed to me, or it's never really like if I have money, I will find a way to
make use of it,
to use it, not waste it.
Allahumma barik.
Use it. I try my best, of course, in every situation not to waste money, but there will always be a use case for it. I don't know. I'm not huge on just hoarding wealth, keeping wealth, even if because the counter argument that a lot of brothers make is that by not spending it today, I can save it up and increase it and grow it, and then I can do more with it later. But at the same time, I know maybe this is unhealthy my mind as well. It's like I don't know if I'm going to be here tomorrow. Like I'm planning and thinking I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And yes, you're rewarded for your intention as well, which is a fair counter argument to that. But yeah, no, in terms of your question, because your question is the whole premise is you've accumulated this wealth. What's the Bro, I'm not one that's accumulated a lot of wealth. Like my, I guess, net worth is all tied up in just like shares, I guess, that I have in businesses. Other than that, I don't really own. I own one car. Even before that, to be honest, I never owned a car. Well, I did in the UK, but here until the war broke out. And the only reason why I bought a car was if in the situation that I did have to cross the border, I'd be able to do that easily, just for driving. If, for example, planes weren't flying, etc. But before that, I was just renting. I never bought a car, never, there wasn't anything huge for me like that. So, yeah.
طيب, inshallah. Very good point that you mentioned, Habibi, that subhanallah, a lot of people save up thinking that they will whatever make use of it later. They will accumulate all this wealth and eventually like make use of it. Let me quickly tell you a story of a billionaire from Malaysia, one of the richest, wealthiest people in Malaysia. Subhanallah, he basically, like Tansri Bukhari, his name. So he basically he was a refugee that ended up on the shores of Malaysia.
Okay.
And then he started doing tijara by selling his like shoes that were made of leather. So basically he sold the shoes, made some money, went and bought rice with it, and then started doing tijara with it. So when he made his first profit, which was about like I think 10 whatever ringgit or whatever the currency they use, he went to his mom and he's like, Mom, I made this money in profit. So his mom's like, give half of it in charity. So this guy is like, exactly what you said, right? This guy's like, thinking is like, oh, you know what? If I reinvest this 10 ringgit, I'm going to double it and then triple it and then quadruple it and then like make it like 500 times. And then I'm going to give it in charity. So he tells his mom, I would love to give charity, but can I reinvest this money, accumulate mass amount of wealth and then use that to give it in charity? And then his mom brings him closer to her and then says to him, this money was given to you by Allah, and the only way you're going to grow it is by giving back to the community for the sake of Allah. Subhanallah, bro. Apparently, the brother went and made the donation, five ringgit, and today, alhamdulillah, multi-billion dollars. Rice, he's literally like the biggest, rice, whatever, distributor in the whole of Malaysia. Subhanallah. Habibi. Tayyib, inshallah, I think it's time to wrap this up. Before we end this, subhanallah, just one quick question for you. If there's a brother there sitting watching this, and or a sister, brother or sister sitting and watching this, and they're in a job and they feel stuck, what's one thing that you would say to them?
Dua, I would say, is first and foremost. Before anything and everything else, you need to remember that yes, we take action, but ultimately any khair that comes from Allah. So if you're not making dua, when I say dua, I don't mean just raise your hand at once and just ask Allah for something. I mean, no, you got to put in the work. You find out what are the times when dua is accepted. Between the adhan and the iqamah, when it's raining, when you're in sajda, when you're traveling, in the last third of the night, get up, pray tahajjud. These things show you actually really want it. If you're not doing these things, for me, I don't believe you want it, wherever it might be, whether it's income or whatever else it might be. After that, action. You got to just take action, choose something. I guess a lot of people don't realize, people think businesses is like, this is what I used to think when I was younger. You have to find a new invention, you have to make a car that flies, and that's how you're going to make money. But as you said, this guy, he got rich making rice or selling rice or distributing rice or whatever it is. Even just being in the cave, I'm hearing what this guy's got a business, and what does he do? Yeah, literally buying and selling agricultural commodities, seed and this and that. This guy's doing trading of this and that. This guy's in IT. Whatever it is that you're into, I promise you, there's a way to monetize it. Just think about the job that you currently work. Why can't you be the owner of that company?
Exactly.
At a much smaller scale, you're going to start off small, but you have the skill to do that job. Okay, cool, do that. Or even the first step could just be changing from your job to being a consultant. Do the same thing you do for one company, do it for 10. Get paid for 10.
Subhanallah.
Transition slowly, no problem. But having this mindset of it has to be some huge change where just reinvent the wheel. That's not going to happen.
Allahu Akbar.
Yes, it's usually a lot easier than you think.
Allahumma barik, brothers. Profound advice. May Allah bless you, Habibi. Barakallah feek. Tayyib, inshallah. We're going to close this off, inshallah. Again, it was amazing having you, Habibi. Hopefully, we'll see more of you, inshallah, in the future.
Inshallah.
Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Barakallah feek.
Feek, Habibi. May Allah bless you, Habibi. Barakallah. Amazing. It was